Let's look at the latest part of the art from new Phyrexia. I've been a little bit late in doing this, but that's because I had to make a lot of videos about Phyrexia, and I had to because they were really fun. And I wanted to do them well as well. And I think they went out pretty well and they have been planned. But let's get into this. First of all, we have Chase here, and I think everyone either hates or loves him. So let's begin with him. We see two elements in this art that I think are very noticeable. So one of them is the blue eye from Jin Catexus. We see it here with the tentacle things, but also here in the back, and 2 or 3 on Jay's body itself. And then the second thing that we see here is the oil. In this set they have made most of the glistening oil like sort of this color, or a sort of rainbow color, one of the two, or a bit of a mix sometimes as well. And this is because the oil from the Praetors has become mixed, more and more mixed with each other. And it starts to have weird effects on people as well. But here we see it just having a blue effect on Jace because he is just a curious cat, let's say that. Free will was an illusion so perfect it fooled even me. I know better now, so he doesn't need free will anymore, he wants to be a part of the engine. We also see a bit of the oil on his glove here, which I think is very cool because this hand might also become replaced like this one has. So to move on, we have a Zenith, or a Twilight. Zenith was the other one. The Twilight of Urbrask, who is grasping for the sun. Maybe he wants it to... It is a statue, of course, of Urbrask, but maybe he wants to grab the sun. He wants it to... well, I don't know, actually. To stay around, maybe that is it. Maybe he doesn't want to lose the freedom of this world, and maybe the Sunsar stands sort of for that freedom. That's something I guess so. But his minions are definitely running toward it, or toward freedom, I guess, and Urbrask is all for that. He also destroys artifacts, or he might destroy artifacts and then create a token that's a copy of it, sort of stealing them from the other Phyrexians. Where once there was apathy, Urbrask brought passion, and we see that, I guess, in the way these guys run so fast. They have haste, probably. And Urbrask does bring haste. The Hunter's Mace I wanted to point out, not because of deep flavor or anything, but because or the Hunter Mace, not Hunter's Mace. Because it would be very hard to walk through these things, and I think that is on purpose from Vorinclex. He doesn't want people to run easily. You have to be strong to walk through these woods. Then I have this one because I noticed something a bit later after playing against it a bit. But I noticed that these, what are they? Mites? Skitterlings, they are also called, I think, are running all through here. And they probably have eaten this guy, I feel like. So maybe the flavor is you can attack with it, but even if you die, you will leave a mite behind because they will be around the people that fight, something like that. They are like scavengers, maybe, something. And Urtat, or I don't know how to speak his name, but he brings you mirrors whenever you cast a mirror, and I think that is what he does in this art as well. He is bringing like a pot with maybe a mirror in there. And then there's this blue light coming out from it, and I'm not sure what this does. Maybe it's about the curiosity from the mirror, or because he is like a traveler, or maybe because he is a remnant of Mendark, which I think is a very cool part about his lore. Like he is what is left behind of Memnar. Then this one, because I failed to notice a bit of a similarity here in the fact that Kaido and the Empress are much like the previous Empress and Uzumaki. What was it? Is that a sushi, or is that the protagonist of the old Kamigawa story? I'm not sure. I think it's Uzumaki. I don't know. But Now I have to look it up. So let's do that. Uzumaki. I think it was Uzumaki. No? Kamigawa. Was Uzumaki was a that's what kind of a fan am I to not know this? Umezawa. It's not even the same. It's from I think I got that from Naruto or something, some other ninja thing. Yeah, look at this. No, I meant Umezawa. Satoshi? Now I want to know. Oh, there are, of course, more people who call that. Satoshi, I think, something like that. Satoru. Okay, I was wrong on all parts, but that is sometimes the case. So, but the similarity here between them and how they have their own love story and how they, Kaido and the Empress, have the same sort of thing. It was a long time ago, alright, with the previous Kamigawa story. But I will keep that in. Still. Gleeful Demolition. A 1-mana sorcery, destroy target artifact, and then you create 3 1/1s. One thing that I like about that is that you actually create 3 1/1s, and here they are, the goblins. Then another thing I find cute is that Urbrask loves to encourage creativity even if it is destructive, especially when it is destructive. Is sort of the classic type of joke that Magic does a lot. But it makes me really feel like these goblins have their own free will still. And it sort of clashes with the thing we talked about with Jace just before. Let's look at the Tyrannex. I feel like he almost became a sort of cult classic, but he just barely failed at it, I guess. Maybe if he gets played a bit in some sort of maybe mono green deck. But can be countered: Trample, Ward 4, Haste, Toxic 4, a lot of keywords, and that mumbo is what some mono green players really like to play with. We also saw that this is one of the new creations from Vorinclex, and something I like that they did in this set a lot is pairing them against an amount of rebels that they can barely beat. So he has eaten 2 already because he's so fast, and then an 8/8 can battle for 2/2s. But they're running away, of course, because yeah, this is pretty scary. You don't want to be the first to attack, so they need to be coordinated. Then they might win, but they have a bit of a disadvantage in this poisoned water as well, I'm guessing. And then I thought this was him breathing fire, but I'm not sure because he's biting into a rebel, and he might just be exploding. Something like that might also be true. Would be a smart tech for a rebel. Yeah, so here we have Tamio doing an operation on a rebel, on a goblin, I guess goblin, rebel. Doesn't look like a goblin to me, but I think goblins can look different ways. And she says, please, for science, tell me how it feels, leaving nothing out. The thing is that I find interesting and disturbing, which is basically all of Phyrexia, is that, well, for one, we have, of course, the Jinkataxia's probes here again. We have the oil running out of Tamio's eyes, which she always seems to have. She has some blue light as well, being completed for a bit of time now. And she has these nails to be able to get into her subjects. And of course, he is laying in the bath of oil, so he is being strangled, yes, but also being slowly completed. So he will probably bring out more and more answers as this interrogation goes on. And Tamio is really here to get the story of New Phyrexia, to get the story that she finds important now. And she wants to know how the completion process works. She is so curious. She wants to know all the stories. She wants to know every step of the story so that she can write about it better later. So that's what she's doing now. And that means, because Tamio has the power to bring stories into reality, that she will be able to complete people better because she understands it so fully. So that is what she's doing right now. She's doing research so that she can replicate this sort of effect. So that's really interesting and also scary for the future. Phyrexian Vindicator, something I sort of thought I noticed, but I'm still not sure, is we have this sort of dark background here, and that seems to tell me that Elisnorn sent this Vindicator to fight Shieldred, as the other 4 black mana horror that we got, the Obliterator, is also something that ends with and also that's something that was sent against Elisnorn. So I think this is her sort of revenge, and they sort of do the same thing where whenever they fight they have some flashy effect. This one is a 5/5 that when it is dealt damage, you prevent the damage, and then he deals that much damage to any other target, so it's a bit less strong, I think, than the sacrifice thing the Obliterator does, but it does seem like opposition. But this one isn't directly killing one of the Obliterators. It is actually, I think, fighting in the arena, and I'm not sure about that because we see a rebel's weapon, I think, here flying around, but it does look like it is the arena, so I'm not sure, but that would be a fun little piece. The Argentum Massacre is basically, I think, interesting because Argentum is, of course, the way the world was called before Mirrodin, even before Phyrexia attacked. And this massacre is something that seems to have been left over from Argentum, and no one has been able to get to it yet. Not the colors, not the Phyrexians, so that is really impressive as well. Yeah, he has protection from multicolored, which is a bit weird because it doesn't protect him against the Phyrexians per se, but it does protect him from a combination of Phyrexians. Maybe that is it. Then with Ixal I noticed something, which is that her wings are sort of becoming green or maybe blackened by the other colors that she is tainted by. And of course, something you might notice is that she doesn't have the blue part of Atraxa. We see it in her legs as well, the sort of green thing, and in her, I guess, tail. Yeah, tail. And a bit in her hands as well. Then I thought this one was really cool because we see again 2 colors. So we see 2 sorts of things. She, Ofika, is in the furnace. So that's the red part. We see the goblins here as well moving on the towers. Sort of the goblin way of dropping down on your enemies. But they are intrigued by the blue part, by the enigmas, by the questions. They are curious and they are allowed to go after their curiosities. Next one. So, next one we have Vindictive Flamestoker. Just a 1 mana 1/2. But why is this interesting? Well, Vindictive is a concept that I personally love. I love revenge, and it is a mistake, but I love it. And here we see it in full-fledged, not flesh. We see someone hurting a creature that has defeated them before. I assume they don't have a head anymore. They are just a forge right now, and they are branding the pain onto the creature. We can sort of see it in its empty eye sockets, and yeah, I love that personally. We have Nissa because I found some interesting things here aside from the obvious things that are in the background. We see the world tree here. We see the bronze, that's sort of the effect that, or maybe it's not really rot, it's more like iron melting away. What do you call it? I don't know. Tell me in the comments. But we see that effect because she was with Vorinclex when she was completed. We didn't really see it in the story, as you may well know, but it did happen there. This is, I guess, our only proof of that, though. Then we see the staff, which is something that other people pointed out. I don't remember who exactly. And then we see the gross stuff on the ground. And something that I found interesting, which you might say, is that really the most interesting thing about this piece from Jade Stone? Well, it's these stones that are sort of flying in the air, but they are flying because of her grow stuff is pulling them up. And this is why she is now an ascended animist. She does, of course, this sort of lowered T-pose stance as well, which feels ascended, but she is also ascended because her animist powers have been changed, and now she doesn't really bring the rocks to life. No, she just pulls them up with her gross red stuff. And I think that is beautiful. Last one, Frasca. Well, she used to be in the Golgari Guild a sort of leader of these types of people, sort of swarm insect-like people, and they would be her assassins. But now in the arena, she has turned them all to stone. She has killed them all. She doesn't really feel the need perhaps for her own assassins, which would be weird because as a thing, she would be allowed to have her own army as well. So that is not a problem, but it seems like she doesn't want it. And one thing in the card itself is that her kill ability is now sort of kill ability but with poison, which I think is beautiful as well. Usually she would put someone to 1 life or would allow some of your creatures to kill them at once. Her assassins would do that, but now she puts a person to 9 poison, and with just 1 more attack of a toxic creature, you would kill them and complete them. And I think that is a beautiful part as well, but I mostly like her change towards just killing everyone that could be her minion. It's pretty fun to me. That was it. I want to thank you for watching, and bye.